Stand in this doorway and one foot is in Belgium while the other is in the Netherlands. The border runs through the entrance and the house carries two official numbers. It is one fragment of a map 8 centuries in the making. This is not a lonely border oddity. In Baarle, the line zigzags across streets, gardens, shops and private homes. Walk through the village and you can cross an international boundary again and again, without a checkpoint, a passport or even noticing, unless you look down. Baarle sits in the southern Netherlands, several kilometres north of Belgium's continuous territory. Yet its streets belong to two municipalities, Dutch Baarle-Nassau and Belgian Baarle-Hertog. They share one village, but the map does not divide them into two clean halves. Instead, Baarle is a jigsaw of 30 enclaves. 22 Belgian pieces are completely surrounded by the Netherlands. The Netherlands has 8 detached pieces of its own. 7 sit inside the 2 largest Belgian enclaves, while one lies near Zondereigen. The border folds back into itself. That produces a rare geographic nesting doll. The Netherlands contains a piece of Belgium, which contains another piece of the Netherlands. The innermost territory is called a counter-enclave. On paper, it looks like a cartographer's mistake. On the ground, it is an ordinary neighbourhood. The border is marked with white crosses in the pavement and metal plates in the road. House number signs carry Belgian or Dutch colours. A line that looks decorative is legally exact. Step across it, and the country beneath your feet changes. For buildings cut by the boundary, Baarle uses a practical rule. The location of the main entrance usually determines the official address and municipal registration. A living room may span 2 countries, but the front door decides where the household officially belongs. The house from the opening defeats even that rule. Its door sits directly on the line, so it displays Belgian number 2 and Dutch number 19. With the entrance belonging neatly to neither side, the owners were allowed to choose which municipality they officially lived in. Other homes are stranger still. In one Belgian enclave, the boundary passes through living rooms, kitchens, bedrooms or bathrooms in at least 15 households. A television can stand in the Netherlands while the sofa facing it sits in Belgium. The line does not stop at the wall. So who would draw a border like this? The answer is no modern government did. Baarle's pattern began before Belgium or the Netherlands existed, when land was measured through feudal obligations, not national territory. To understand the map, we have to return to 1198. During a struggle with the Count of Holland, the Lord of Breda sided with Duke Henry I of Brabant. In 1198, he transferred Breda to the Duke, received it back as a fief, and gained surrounding land. But the Duke retained some parcels. Not every parcel returned. The Duke kept control of cultivated plots and lands already tied to other holders. The surrounding territory followed Breda, but those scattered pieces remained under Brabant. Farms, fields, and legal exceptions became the first outline of today's enclaves. The names preserve that split. Hertog means duke, pointing back to the Duke of Brabant. Nassau refers to the dynasty that later controlled Breda. A medieval property arrangement slowly became an administrative boundary and waited for Europe to turn it into a national border. That happened in 1648. The Treaty of Münster confirmed the divide between the Northern Dutch Republic and the Spanish-controlled southern Netherlands. Baarle-Nassau went with the north. Baarle-Hertog went with the south. The same scattered parcels now belong to different political worlds. Belgium declared independence in 1830, creating a new international frontier with the Netherlands. Most of that border could be surveyed as a continuous line. Around Baarle, the Commission met a medieval puzzle: old parcels with different allegiances, packed into the same village. In 1843, The Treaty of Maastricht settled almost the entire Belgian-Dutch boundary. At Baarle, officials did not invent a clean line. Instead, they attached a parcel-by-parcel record of which land belonged to which municipality. The mess was not overlooked. It was written into law. Border Post 214 was placed on one side of the enclave zone. Post 215 stood on the other. Between them, there was no ordinary boundary line, only that legal inventory of scattered plots. On the map, Baarle remained a deliberate gap between two numbered markers. Even then, the precise geometry was unfinished. Bilateral work closed the gap in 1974, and in 1995, the final enclave boundaries were officially fixed and recognised as international borders. A pattern born in the 12th century became fully surveyed with modern precision. Today, Baarle has two municipal governments, two mayors, and separate official systems. But daily life flows across the same streets. The two communities coordinate services and solve problems together. Most days, the border is visible underfoot, yet almost invisible in people's routines. Then 2020 showed how real the line still was. Belgium imposed stricter lockdown rules than the Netherlands. Some Belgian shops had to close while Dutch businesses nearby could remain open. In a village of intertwined territory, the pavement marking suddenly determined what activity was legal a few steps away. Normally, Schengen means no passport booth interrupts those crossings. A shopper can pass from a Dutch sidewalk into a Belgian doorway without stopping. The border is open to people, but exact for property, registration, policing, and law. Freedom of movement did not erase sovereignty. Why not trade the enclaves and simplify everything? Because a cleaner map could create a mess on the ground, changing addresses, property records, municipal responsibilities, and the legal status of real homes. Cooperation has made the border manageable, so removing it is no longer urgent. That is what makes Baarle more than a geographic curiosity. Borders are not always designed by nations with rulers and straight lines. They can grow from farms, contracts, inheritances, and compromises. Once generations organize daily life around them, even an irrational map can become stable. Bir Tawil exists because rival border claims leave one territory outside both neighbouring states. Baarle is the reverse. Every parcel is assigned with extraordinary precision, sometimes room by room. One place falls between two versions of the border. The other survives inside too many borders to count at a glance. Europe has one more answer to the same question. What happens when two countries refuse to choose just one owner? On a tiny island between France and Spain, sovereignty is shared, and administration changes every 6 months. That is where the Restless Atlas travels next.